at radiovermont.com.
The energy. How does anybody live and drive in Boston every single day? This guy stopped in the middle of the road with his hazard lights on. This guy won't yield. That guy won't let you go. That guy passes in front of you. That guy goes 3 lanes of traffic all in one shot. How does anybody do this?
The passion.
Look, if the Red Sox aren't going to play Yoshida Endeavors as they're about to get swept, then we might as well just give up and go home.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
I'm glad that Mac Jones looks better. That's really important. He needs to look better. But if it were a video game, he'd still have an overall rating of 76, and that ain't cutting it.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? A very happy Monday to you here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. The show is brought to you by Fecto Homes, your total home solution in Montpelier. We are on for more than an hour today, so it's a good week of shows for us this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're on until 6:40, an hour and 10 minutes. Thursday, full show. Friday, full show. So a lot of stuff to get to, and we'll have a lot of time to do just that. You can get in as well on the Ayer Auto text line. That's Ayer Auto text line, AyerAutoSales.com, North Main Street in Barrie, where they can sell you a vehicle and fix up the one you got. 802-585-3026. That's 802-585-3026. The opening thoughts of the Brady Farkas Show brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Hope all of you had a happy and relaxing Father's Day. Those of you who spend time with your father, those of you who are fathers, and otherwise, those of you who just had a nice relaxing Sunday. So hope that you all had a great weekend. Red Sox sweep the Yankees. They're getting ready for the Twins, who are leading the American League Central coming up here in a little while. Again, 7:40 first pitch. Sox sweep the Yankees, sweep the doubleheader last night and yesterday in the day as well. I ask you, 802-585-3026, how do you feel about the Red Sox right now? That's my question for you. If you honestly look at it, honestly examine things, how do you feel about the Boston Red Sox right now? Okay? There's kind of two ways to look at it. I'll give you the two choices. There is the one side that says, hey, they've won 4 straight, and hey, they just swept the Yankees, and hey, they're only 3 games out of a wild card spot. And then there's also the other side of the coin. Yeah, but they're still in last place. Yeah, but they're nearly 15 games behind Tampa. And yeah, but they're not even in the playoffs right now. You know, they're on the outside of the race looking in. How do you feel? I'll tell you how I feel, and that's encouraged. It doesn't mean the Red Sox are going to run away with this thing and hide, make the playoffs, and win the World Series. But I feel encouraged today in a way I didn't feel last week, in a way that I didn't feel the way before that. Now, the Yankees are struggling, okay? Since Aaron Judge has been hurt, they've got the worst offense in baseball. Worse than the A's, worse than the Royals, worse than anyone else you think is bad. So the Yankees, the Sox played them here this weekend is a little bit of a wounded duck, and I get that, and I accept that. But today, I still feel encouraged, and that the barometer to me is still looking up on this team today. And as of right now, June 19th, I'm looking at the Red Sox as a buyer. Okay, last week we're talking about selling James Paxton and selling Adam Duvall and getting rid of Kike Hernandez. You're talking about all the different guys they might be able to move. I'm telling you today, I see the Red Sox as a buyer. Maybe next week it will be different. Maybe on July 4th it will be different. But the show is today, and today I am feeling encouraged about the Red Sox, and I'm trending towards them being a buyer. Now, Lee, who tends to be very, very pessimistic, he and I were talking earlier. When I said I would buy if I were the Red Sox, he looked at me like I had 9 heads. Well, today, I am going to buy. Today, I am believing in making this team better. So if I am high in bloom, I'm scouring the phones. I know trade season hasn't fully gotten going yet, but I'm scouring the phones and I'm wondering, okay, what can I do to make this team better? And last year, I would have sold. This year, I'm going to buy. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you what the differences are. Number one, the biggest difference to me is that while the Red Sox have useful pieces, I don't believe the Red Sox have anything that would yield them a massive return. Last year, I think Xander Bogaerts would have yielded a massive return. I could have reconciled trading Xander Bogaerts because I think it would have gotten something really good. Red Sox don't have that this year. They don't have that frontline starter to deal this year. Last year they had Eovaldi, wasn't frontline, but they had a guy who was a starter who had postseason experience. They also had JD Martinez, a veteran hitter who was on an expiring deal and affordable. The Red Sox don't have any of that stuff this year. So since they don't have that, I don't think they're going to get massive returns if they were to sell. So if they're hovering close like they are, I tend to rather buy. James Paxton, with all his injury concerns, and with the fact that he missed, more than a month this season, he's not yielding you a top flight prospect. So if I'm hovering, I'd rather keep him. Adam Duvall, with his injury history and his age, is not yielding you a top flight prospect. So if I'm hovering, I'd rather keep him. Okay? If I was 7 games out, then I'd be talking about selling everybody. But I'm 3 out with momentum into a softer part of my schedule here this week. That makes me more likely to buy. As for, Turner and Jansen, they're expensive and they're older. I don't know that they're going to yield me a lot. They're going to yield me something, but I don't know that they're going to yield me a lot. So since I don't have that surefire player to bring me something great, I tend to look at going out and saying, okay, if I can't rebuild awesomely out of this group, how can I add to it and give myself a chance? That's where I'm at today. How can I add to it and give myself a chance? Number 2, I have Trevor Story coming back. Okay? I have Trevor Story coming back. Now, I get it. It's going to take some time. I don't expect him to come in and be the 2-time All-Star that he is. I don't expect him to come in and hit 20 homers over the last 2.5 months of the season. But Trevor Story being here makes the Boston Red Sox better. They are already getting an impact player back sometime around the deadline. They didn't have that last year, right? They couldn't guarantee themselves an impact player coming in. They've got that this year. So I have to presume that the lineup gets better when Story's here. It certainly gets longer and it gets more intimidating. When he can play defense, I have to presume the defense gets better than it's been. So I have an impact player coming to me guaranteed for free. A guy I have played without all year. He gets to come in and be my trade deadline acquisition, and it costs nothing to get him. It's why I'm leaning towards buying today in a way I wasn't a year ago. I don't have the pieces I had a year ago, and I've got Story coming like I didn't have a year ago. I mean, look, the Red Sox could use, in my mind, another middle infielder. They could use a starter. They could use bullpen help. They're not perfect. I don't even know that they're great. I don't even know that they're very good, but they're in the mix. They're getting better, and they're at a softer part of their schedule. And today I'm inclined to buy. Ask me in a week, and maybe I'll want to sell. But today I'm inclined to buy. I do think still the Red Sox should trade Kike Hernandez, but I don't look at that as a sell-off move. I look at that as how can I help this team still today? Kike Hernandez has value to somebody. He doesn't have as much value to me. So if I can go get a fourth starter that can help for Kike Hernandez, I'd do it. If I can go get another bullpen arm for Kike Hernandez, I would do it. If I can get something for Kike Hernandez that can help this team, I would do it. That's where I'm at. Okay? That's where I'm at. Air Auto text line, 802-585-3026. Peter over in Williston. I'm optimistic, but check with me in a week. Maybe add dudes at the trade deadline. This is such a seesaw roller coaster season thus far. Again, that's what I said. Okay, check with me in a week. But the show is today, right? That's my all-time, my old co-host, Arnie Spanier. That was his saying. I've stolen it. I will steal it for life. That is my favorite saying in this business now. Now I know why he said it all the time. Okay, the show is today. In a week, I might want to sell off everybody. In 2 weeks, I might want everybody fired. In 3 weeks, I may stop watching baseball for the rest of the year. But today, I'm encouraged. Today, I'm excited. Today, the Red Sox are 37-35. They've won 4 straight. They've beaten up on their rivals. And now they're playing a not very good Twins team and a not very good White Sox team. And they got a chance to go in this week, 5-2 or 6-1. If they go 2-5 or 1-6, trust me, I will flip my attitude. But today, I feel better about this team. Phil in Middlesex. Don't get your hopes up. They're a 500 club, nothing better. Maybe. They might be a 500 club. They've proven to be very average this year. And I think this team is very average. What do I want to do? I want to buy right now to make it not very average. That's it. You're right. They are an average team. If they go out and trade Kike Hernandez for a 4th starter that's better than what they've got, they might be better. If they go out and add a bullpen arm. Now, look, I'm not an Aroldis Chapman fan. I do not do domestic violence guys. But there's a reliever that I can tell you off the top of my head that's available. If they go add somebody of that caliber for not that much in a deal with the Kansas City Royals or a team just like them, then you get better. If they want to take Colton Wong off the hands of my Mariners and they can turn them around, then go ahead. But there are things that can be done for this team that can take them above average, which is exactly where they are right now. Kyle in South Burlington. Red Sox just beat up on fool's gold. There's always a team willing to trade a Jeff Bagwell in the minors for a Larry Anderson, the way the Red Sox did many years ago. So, yeah, okay. So, I mean, you're making fun of the Red Sox in the past. I don't know exactly what that means for them now. Here's the thing I will say. I want to buy, but I am also going to smart buy, right? This team is not one piece away from a World Series. This team is a couple of pieces away from getting in the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, you give yourself a chance. And I'm in favor of giving myself a chance this year. But I'm not trading Marcelo Meyer for anything. I don't want to trade Nick York. I don't want to trade Blaze Jordan. I don't want to trade, Bayo. I don't want to trade any of these young guys that we think are close or already here. I don't want to trade those guys for rental players because we're not that close. Okay, you're not that close in reality. But if I can trade Kike Hernandez and not have to deal for my farm system at all and get something useful at the major league level, I'm in. If I can deal some 20-year-old A-baller who another team has taken a shot on to go get a lefty reliever, then I'll do it. If I can trade a 20-year-old A-baller or an 18-year-old in my system for a 4th starter, I will do it. I'm not looking to blow up my farm system because, okay, everybody hates what Chaim Bloom has done. He's built up the farm system, and trust me, you'll really hate it if they go and get rid of it all for this team. So buy, but be smart in how you buy. Will over in Plattsburgh, I'm encouraged, but they did beat a very lethargic Yankee team. I understand. I just said that, right? The Yankees are right now not very good. But teams that are good beat up on teams that aren't good in general or aren't good at the time. That's just the way this goes. So I'm not looking at this blindly. I don't believe the Yankees are a true, this might say more about the Yankees than it says about the Red Sox, but still the Red Sox won 3 games and won 2 games in one day. And that is all you can ask for. So today I feel more encouraged, right? If they had lost 2 of 3 to these Yankees, you'd be mad at them. So I got to give them some credit. All right, let me say something that I have said before, but I don't say this critically. Everybody has started listening to the show at a different time period, right? So not everybody's heard this spiel. I just got a voicemail, and let me explain how this works. I give out the number all the time, right? 802-585-3026. It's the Air Auto text line. It is a text line only. And the reason why it's a text line only is because there is nobody in this studio to answer the phone. Okay? Truthfully, there's nobody in this studio to answer the phone. In the past, we've had intern Jack in here. We've had some other part-timers here that could answer the phone. But even when they're here, they're in separate rooms helping with other things of the show. The phone, okay, the phone is in this studio right next to me. I cannot answer it during the show, okay? So the text line is what I give out, 802-585-3026. Again, Air Auto text line. Texter, so the way this works is that the text line can take your call. It can take your call. I cannot answer it. If you leave a voicemail, I can read the transcript of your voicemail. So a voicemail says, I'm not understanding why you want people to call in and then you don't answer the phone. I don't want people to call in. I want people to text. If you call, I can't answer. Okay? I have no ability and nobody in here to answer the phone. That is the truth. I would love to turn this into sports radio like in Boston and New York, where you guys can just call in all day. We can all gripe about the Red Sox and the Patriots together. Okay? We don't have the personnel to do that. So we have a text line. That's the next best thing that I can offer you, is the ability to get your thoughts in, to get your voice heard, to take more perspectives, to get a differing perspective. And I love the text line, and it's fun, and it keeps it moving. But I cannot answer the phone. So I don't give out a phone number to call in. I give it a phone number to text in. If you want to call and I can't answer, you can leave a voicemail and I'll read the transcript. Text says, if you're the general manager, do you allow Chaim Bloom to make these moves or do you move on from him? That's what Buster Olney was talking about last week. This is a very interesting time for the Red Sox. The Red Sox need to figure out if they're committed to Bloom. Okay? They need to figure out if they're committed to Bloom, because if you are committed to Bloom, then you're letting him go through the trade deadline process and you're letting him go through the draft, which is in mid-July as well. If you don't believe in what Bloom is doing, then you better move on from him quick, because you don't want a guy you don't believe in running those two things. The draft is hugely important to you, and the trade deadline is hugely important to you. I tend to think that Bloom deserves to get through this season. Now, we'll see how they finish up before I talk about next season, but I believe Bloom deserves to go through with this season. But if they're out on him, then you better get rid of him now before you let him go through the deadline and the draft. It's the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes. 802-585-3026. Air Auto text line. Again, text line. Don't call. That's okay. Again, I'm not knocking somebody who tries to call. I just feel bad I can't answer. So get your text in instead. Patriots got some very unsettling news this weekend. We'll give you the latest on Jack Jones and his arrest at the Logan Airport. That's a big piece for the Patriots and a whole lot of trouble coming up next here on DEV.
WDEV Studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
At SimpliSafe, we design award-winning security to protect every inch of your home. It's easy to set up yourself, and now there's an even easier option. Have an expert do it for you with SimpliSafe Pro Install. Always protecting, never a contract. 2 easy installation options, backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at SimpliSafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Hi, folks. This is Peter Burke. Join Joel Mashman and me in the garden Saturdays at 12:30. Don't try to do it alone in the garden. Call in with questions for advice or just to share your successes in the garden.
Brought to you in part by Bernard's family-owned True Value store, Brooklyn Street, Morrisville. Boston's Florist Greenhouse and Perennial Farm in Colchester. And Sticks and Stuff in Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
I'm going to tell you a story.
Heard a lot of that this weekend. I like the sound of that. Red Sox, Dirty Water, Sox and Twins coming up 50 minutes from now here on the Brady Farkas Show. Well, actually here on WDEV. Coming up on the Brady Farkas Show at about 6:10. We're going to talk a little UVM women's basketball. The injury last week to Kat Gilwey is certainly a huge loss for that program. Alisa Kresge, their head coach, is going to stop by at 6:10. I'm going to try to get in touch with Coach Becker later this week as well, talk about the UVM men's program, get a little check-in on both programs. So we'll talk again with Alisa Kresge at 6:10. This is news I wish I didn't have to report. It's wish I wish I didn't have to report for general life, and it's news I wish I didn't have to report for the New England Patriots. But this weekend, it was bad news for the Pats and for defensive back Jack Jones. Jack Jones, remember him, he was drafted in the 4th round last year out of Arizona State. He had a couple of picks near the end zone. I think one of them was against Detroit. The other one, he had a pick 6 against Aaron Rodgers, and then afterward he said, basically, Aaron, don't throw my way. But Jack Jones was good last year for the Patriots as a rookie. Well, he was arrested Friday night at a TSA checkpoint at Boston's Logan International Airport. 2 firearms were discovered in his carry-on luggage. So the former Arizona State Sun Devil is being charged with 2 counts of a concealed weapon in a secure area of an airport, possession of ammunition without a firearm ID card, unlawful possession of a firearm, carrying a loaded firearm, and possession of a large capacity feeding device. He was going from Boston to Arizona, I can only presume at the end of the Patriots offseason program. Remember, the Patriots offseason program ended last week. Bit by bit here, this is a huge deal, okay? I don't know a lot about law, and I certainly don't know a lot about guns, but this is a huge deal. Loaded firearms at airport checkpoints. This screams huge deal to me. Michael McCann, who's a sports law expert, he echoed those sentiments earlier today.
In a lot of trouble because he's been charged with multiple offenses, and they're serious offenses, including a large capacity feeding device, which goes to rounds and ballistics and a possession of a gun in an airport, loaded firearm.
There's a lot of stuff that he's been charged with, but certainly what we know so far is that he's facing serious charges that carry potentially time in prison, and I think that that's something that has to really worry something.
So you're talking about charges, multiple charges here, right? This is not one charge. Not that one charge is okay. This is not one charge. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5 charges here that Jack Jones has, right? So this is not one thing you have to try to get over. This is 4 or 5 things you have to try to get over. That by nature is serious. McCann talks about possible jail time. That by nature is serious as well. And then on the personal level for Jack Jones, like, you could lose your job over this. Okay? The New England Patriots might cut you over this. I don't believe they will. That is just me. I have not seen that. I have not heard that. I believe that Jack Jones will survive this and stay on the roster, but Jack Jones has threatened, at the very least, his own career. And that is a massively stupid decision. Okay, he's got loaded firearms in an airport, and he intended to board a plane with loaded firearms. That is a threat to society, right? If something happens on that plane, inadvertently, accidentally, that is a threat to society. It's a threat to the human public of that airport and that plane that Jack Jones tried to do that. That is massively stupid. For himself, he has threatened his own career. That is massively stupid. Again, I think he'll survive this roster-wise. I always hear people say, oh, Belichick won't tolerate this, and Belichick won't put up with that, and don't put yourself before the team. And I think Jack Jones survived this. But nonetheless, why would you even risk it? Why would you even risk it? This is about as dumb a thing as you can do. Texter says, Brady, why are you so sure that Jack Jones won't get cut? I'm not sure. It's just what my gut tells me. Why? Because Jack Jones is good. And this is the way the world works. Beautiful people and talented people get things that the rest of us don't get. That's just the way it goes. And the rest of us don't get second chances like this. Jack Jones, I think, will. Patrick Chung got a second chance. He had drug stuff. Deron Harmon had drug stuff. He got through. Those guys survived the roster. They were useful players. And Jack Jones is a useful player as well. I think he'll survive this. But no, I'm not sure. It's also very ironic. Did you see what came out on social media? We've been talking a lot, not so much we, but nationally. They've been talking a lot about Ja Morant, obviously suspended to 25 games with the NBA for his firearm-related posts and offenses. Jack Jones called out Ja Morant a month ago. Like May 15th, Jack Jones put out on social media a tweet calling out Ja Morant, saying that he was being dumb and telling him to put the guns down and run the money up and to hire security if he has to. He says, you're the breadwinner. How can you act this way? Like pot calling kettle black here. I mean, clearly what's ironic is that Jack Jones sees wrong in Ja Morant, recognizes wrong, recognizes the stupidity of Ja Morant, and then goes and puts himself in a very similar position. You've got to be better than this for society and the danger you put people in by going to the airport that way, and better for yourself and for your team. You put everybody at risk here. Also, I don't really think this shows well of the Patriots. Okay, guys are going to do what guys are going to do, but the offseason program just ended last week. If you're the coaching staff of the Patriots, the final word to your team in the offseason program is see you in a month. Do not do anything to jeopardize yourself or this organization. That has to be the final message. And either the Patriots didn't say it or Jack Jones didn't get it, and either of those would be a problem. But every time I've ever heard of a team dismissing for a period of time, it's don't get in trouble. Even when I think about it in college, right? Season would end, we'd go home for the summer, and the coach would say to us something in the form of, do not do anything this summer to get in trouble. And the Patriots either didn't give the message or didn't give it well enough. And by the way, it also doesn't reflect well on the Patriots because Jack Jones had issues in the past. We knew when Jack Jones got drafted, he came with some risk and with some baggage. Okay? Out of Arizona State. Remember, he got arrested himself for burglary in 2018. I don't know if that was at Arizona State, but it was at some point in his life. It was before Arizona State. He went to USC first. He got thrown off the team there for academic issues. He got arrested in 2018. So Jack Jones came with some skeletons in his closet, and the Patriots took him anyway. And here we are 2 years in. There's something happening with Jack Jones. This doesn't reflect well on the Patriots in a lot of different ways here. Okay? It doesn't reflect well on the Patriots in a lot of different ways. Remember, Jack Jones got fined also at the end of the season. Okay, or he got suspended at the end of the season. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Not good. Ross says, this isn't one firearm mistakenly forgotten in your bag. No, it's not. No, it's not. Loaded firearms on planes is nothing to gloss over. Brady Farkas Show brought to you by Fecto Homes. CBS News next. I'll tell you about my summer project I'm a little intimidated by.
6.1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This news on the hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Christopher Cruz in the Washington Bureau. The Coast Guard is now looking for a 5-person submersible that was bringing tourists to see the wreckage of the Titanic.
The search is centered around 900 miles east of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, with time quickly running out.
The vessel was designed with a 96-hour sustainment capability.
Commander of the 1st Coast Guard District, Rear Admiral John Mauger, says planes from the U.S. and Canada are conducting aerial searches, and a commercial ship is using sonar to locate the vessel in 2.5-mile deep waters.
It is a remote area.
The Coast Guard has not yet officially identified those on board. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
The AC is providing sweet relief to Texans today. KTVT TV meteorologist Erin Moran in Fort Worth.
Cleburne feels like 116. Hillsborough feels like 117 degrees right now. This is excessive heat.
President Biden is in Palo Alto, California today, announcing $600 million in climate investments.
We're investing in the people and the places that have been hit the hardest, but who are also on the front lines of leading us forward.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken met in Beijing today with Chinese President Xi Jinping for high-stakes talks. They were aimed at keeping the relationship between the two superpowers from further deteriorating.
We both agreed on the need to stabilize our relationship.
CBS's Olivia Gazis reports Blinken said the discussion was candid and constructive.
Blinken said China had agreed to increase the number of direct flights between the countries and potentially establish a working group on fentanyl precursor chemicals. But an important communications channel remains closed. The Chinese declined to reestablish military-to-military channels, an important objective of the secretary's trip, and what many say is essential to maintaining peaceful and stable relations in the region.
This is Juneteenth, the day we observe the end of slavery in this country. New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker says we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go.
We are a nation that had to overcome hardship and pain, struggle and suffering. We are a nation that was founded and conceived in liberty, but read the founding documents.
Have you reflected yet on
Americans as savages?
8-time major golf
when
champion Tom Watson is demanding information about the PGA Tour's new business partnership with the Saudi backers of the Live Golf League. He has sent a letter to the PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan asking if the deal was the only way to solve the tour's financial hardship. And federal transportation safety regulators have opened an investigation of the Hyundai Ioniq 5 electric vehicles. This is CBS News.
Need hires who dazzle without the hassle? You need Indeed. Their powerful platform helps you attract, interview,
When you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Are you looking to get rid of your used mobile home? Here at Fecto Homes, we don't just sell new mobile homes, we also buy used. If you have a used mobile home that you are looking to sell, we can either accept it as trade and apply the value to a new home with us or purchase it outright. We offer fair prices and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Fecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at fectohomes.com for more information.
Hi, folks. This is Peter Burke. Join Joel Nashman and me in the garden Saturdays at 12:30. Don't try to do it alone in your garden. Call in with questions for advice or just to share your successes in the garden.
Brought to you in part by The Willie's Store, family owned since 1900 in Greensboro. Holly Construction, Gregory Drive, South Burlington. One call does it all. And your locally owned Montpelier Agway, East Montpelier Road.
Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3027.
Now back to the Brady Farkas Show
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We are brought to you by Effecto Homes, your total home solution in Montpelier. We're 35 minutes away from getting you out to Red Sox baseball. Sox and Twins for Minneapolis, first of 4. So we are 7:40 first pitches each of the next 3 days. Thursday, it's a 1:10 first pitch. And then Friday, Sox go to Chicago for an 8:10 first pitch. So we have all or long or mostly full shows this entire week, which is really, really good. Alisa Kresge, UVM women's basketball coach, is going to stop by here in about 5 minutes. Going to ask her about the plan to replace Catherine Gilwey. Remember, the CVU native is out for the season next year. We don't know what the injury is, but we know she's out for the entirety of the season. So again, we'll talk with Alisa Kresge coming up in about 5 minutes. Ross says on the text line, this Jack Jones story reminds me of, or gives me an Aaron Hernandez feeling. I am not going to go there. Right, I'm not a sociologist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not an expert. So that's not something that I'm going to touch. I will just tell you that the Jack Jones situation is concerning. Okay, it's concerning. I'm not going to compare it to another situation, but when you talk about loaded firearms in public places, loaded firearms in airports, loaded firearms on planes, potentially if he had gotten through security like this, that's a serious thing. Okay, that is a serious thing, and it's serious for him. It's serious for him professionally. He could face discipline from the league for this. He could go to jail for this, as Michael McCann told you. He could get cut over this. I don't think he will, but he could. This is absolutely a serious story. And I don't know how much we'll hear about it coming up soon. Like, I have a feeling this won't be resolved for a while, but, you know, we'll continue to monitor it for sure. He is a useful player for the Patriots. To me, that's secondary. He is a useful player for the Patriots, and he's a big part of their secondary. We look at the Patriots team, right? It's pretty obvious. We think the defense is the best part of the roster, and I would think that we all kind of agree the secondary is the best part of that defense, right? And Jack Jones is part of that, right? When I think about the Patriots defense and I think about Christian Gonzalez, who they took the DB out of Oregon, and I think about Jabril Peppers, and I think about Adrian Phillips, and I think about Kyle Duggar and Marcus Jones and Jack Jones and John Jones. That's the best unit on their team. Now, they have some depth there. So if something were to happen to Jack Jones, I guess they could overcome it a little easier, but I'm not in favor of weakening the best part of my roster when I already think that I'm behind the 8 ball going forward. Before Coach Kresge stops by, let me tell you about my summer project. I'm a little intimidated by it. I think I can do it. I just need some confidence and some pointers as I move forward. So I'm not really bashful about telling you guys this, right? I'm not real good at a lot of the hands-on stuff in life. Okay? I'm just not. And I don't quite get it. I'm not confident in it. I didn't grow up doing it, right? I'm good at talking. I'm good at knowing sports. And I'm good at watching and playing sports. Those are the things I'm good at. I'm not good at working on cars. I'm not good at building things. I'm not good at understanding how that stuff is done. I'm not good at cooking. Like I'm embarrassed by this stuff, but I'm not too ashamed to tell you about it at least. Well, I'm picking up a summer project this year, and I'm going to do something hands-on myself, or at least I'm going to try. So I have a piece of furniture that I imagine, I was talking about this with Kyle from Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber in the news. I told him I thought it was about 10 to 15 years old. I'm wrong. It's got to be 30 years old or more. I was coaching baseball in like 2010. And one of the guys on my team, his dad had this piece of furniture. And he knew I was going to be kind of living on my own soon or starting out. And he asked me if I wanted it. And it's really heavy. It's like an entertainment unit, but it's short. It's small to the ground. It has like one cabinet underneath the unit. It's not a true entertainment center, but it's old. And I'm under the impression he had this thing for at least 15 years before he offered it to me. So now I've had it for 10 years sitting in my parents' basement. I've never needed it at this point. Well, I'm coming up in a situation where I'm going to need it. And it's like 30 years old. It's now covered in dust. It's sitting in my parents' basement. It's not that nice. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to find use for this, I've got to do something to it. So I hesitate to call it a restoration because it's not broken. It's still in perfect condition. It just needs to be done up and modernized and painted or glossed or something. So that's going to be my summer project, to make this piece of furniture useful and pretty, for lack of a better word. I have not the first clue how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it. But I'm a little intimidated by where to start. First things first, this thing's at my parents' house. I have to get it. So I have to get it and look at it. I have to see what exactly is wrong with it because I don't remember, right? I picked it up 13 years ago, and I haven't looked at it really since. So does it have chips in it? Is it just ugly? Is it missing paint? I don't know. But I'm like, I might have to sand this thing. I don't know how to sand. I might have to paint this thing. I don't know how to paint. Well, okay, I know how to paint, but I've never painted something that would have real stakes to it like this. Am I going to make it glossy? And then I'm talking to Kyle at Sticks and stuff. He's like, you can put a polyurethane coat on it, and you could use this and this hybrid paint. We'd mix it. Whoa. You're speaking a foreign language to me. I'm going to watch a YouTube video. I'm going to call Kyle at Sticks and stuff. I'm going to figure out what I need, and then I'm going to try to do it. But I'm like, do I need to strip the paint? Do I want it to look like wood? Do I want it to be all black? Do I want it to look old? Do I want it to... I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with it, nor how I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do it. That is going to be my summer project. So if any of you people are handy, or if any of you people are just feeling like giving me confidence, point me in the direction of a YouTube video. Send me a text on the AR Auto text line, 802-585-3026, ARAutosales.com. Give me some pointers. Give me some ideas of what equipment I might need. I mean, truly, I am starting from scratch. Like, truly, I am starting from scratch. When I do anything handy, I very much need my hand held the very first time. Yeah, and that's not saying that as an exaggeration. It's true. So if you've got any tips, anything, you let me know. All right, I want to go out to the phone line. I want to talk now with Alisa Kresge, the UVM women's basketball coach. I want to do a little check-in here on the program right now this summer. I want to talk to Coach Becker later this week as too. We'll try to catch that up on the men's side. But last we saw the UVM women's basketball program, they were playing in the NCAA tournament, losing to UConn, but they had won the America East Championship. It was a great season. It was a banner season for the Catamount women, and Coach Kresge is the one at the helm of all of it, and she's with us now. Coach, thanks for being with us. Good to talk with you again. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being with us. You know, when your team is going through the moment, when any team is going through the moment, we, the media, always ask, what does it feel like? What does it feel like? And the coach always says, I'm focused on today. Let me reflect when the season's over. I'll have a better idea of it all. We're 3 months past. Have you reflected yet? 4 months past even. Have you reflected yet on the season that was?
Yeah, some. A lot of times it's sitting down and just checking in with our players, our new recruits, and just thinking back on the season we had. And I'm in a good seat where I get to brag about our players and the amazing job they did. But thinking back, it was pretty darn impressive what this group did. And I just like, in the moment, you can't think about the streak and things like that, but that was pretty impressive, and I've never been around something like that, and they found a way in each game. It was different. Probably shouldn't have won a couple of those, but this group found a way. So, yeah, it was a pretty special year, and I'm trying to soak it up now because our players get back in a couple of weeks, and it's on to the next season. So really soaking up the good memories here and really reflecting on what an incredible job this group did this past year.
It's kind of low-hanging sports radio fruit that when a team does something for the first time, I can sit here from 30,000 feet and say, that's the springboard that gets the program to the next level. That's the jump-off point. Do you see this season as that way, or is it just kind of a slow, gradual build?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that our program talked a lot about, even in the season, of not getting too high, not getting too low, and just staying in the moment. And I think for us, yes, we've raised the bar for this program and closer to where the bar was at one time. But we're going to take every day as a new challenge, and it's a new season. We have a similar roster, but a new roster, and it's a new year, and other opponents in the league have different rosters. So I think while it was great that what we did this past year, we need to take on the challenge again. And there's going to be things a little bit different, like a target on our back is a little bigger and things like that. But I think we have a good foundation, and that's the most important thing I think we take from this past year is the foundation, the excitement around the program, the community support, all that's amazing. We want to build off of it. So it's a good starting point, but I know everyone's talking about it, and they expect big things from this group this year, but it's a new team, so we'll figure that out when they arrive in a couple of weeks.
You know, this is such a nerdy coach question that maybe only I'll be interested in it, so apologies to the audience in advance, but I've played on bad teams. I've played on good teams. I have coached bad teams. I have coached good teams. And when you coach a bad team or a young team, you have one demeanor, and everything is a teaching moment, and everything is hey, we're going to learn from this. When you coach a good team that has expectations, you're wound a little more tightly. You get a little more frustrated easily. How do you avoid that? Because I'm sure you want to stay you, even though there are heightened expectations.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think we felt a little of that this past year. The previous year, having 20 wins, that kind of felt like the momentum was starting to shift in the right direction, and there was a little expectation, whether it was internally or outside of our program. And so, yeah, there's moments there. I think it's going to be a learning curve. It's the first time this group is sitting in a situation that there's this hope and this expectation, this want to repeat. And so that's going to be a lot of mental work, a lot of mental training among our staff and of our players, how to handle that. But it's the first time we're doing that, all of us in the staff and this program. So I think it's going to be a learning curve. I'm glad you brought the question up because it is something we've already started talking about. But yeah, we want to stay true to ourselves as best we can, and we have each other to reel ourselves in if we need or pick each other up. But it's a good question, and hopefully at the end of the season I can revisit this question and say it all went well.
Head coach Alisa Kresge, UVM women's basketball team, with us here on the Brady Farkas show on WDEV. You know, I think back to America East Championship weekend, and your team played on Friday afternoon, and the men played on Saturday. And all week I was trying to figure out which team has more pressure right now. Does the women's team have the pressure going first, trying to set the stage for the great weekend, or does the men's team have the pressure trying to follow up what the women did and not let everybody down, in quotes? When you think about that weekend, how much pressure did your team have playing first, if any?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of pressure, but we really tried to hone in on not focusing on that, focusing on the details that we can control. That being said, from my seat, the pressure was, this group was amazing. They worked so hard, and Albany did too. Whoever was in that game at that point worked really hard, but you want it for them. And so you don't want to be the reason that the ball drops. So I think our staff tried to take on the pressure and tried to take it away from the players so they weren't feeling it, even though I know they were feeling it. But I know the men, I mean, what they've done in year in and year out, and that's another layer of pressure that I think they always have to face and handle. So I don't know if you can really weigh who had more pressure, to be honest with you, but thankfully we both found a way to get it done, and it was really a fun weekend for Catamount Country, and I'm just lucky to be part of it.
You get Delaney Richardson back this year for a fifth year. You get Emma Utterback back for a fifth year this year. They both spoke with me around that time, around their decisions. What goes into that from your end? Is it, hey, I'm trying to convince you and re-recruit you to come back for a fifth year? Is it, hey, it's your decision, you know, let me know what you decide? What's kind of your role in their decisions?
Yeah, unique situation, I think, with the fifth year. That one's a little different to me than other transfer situations. They gave Vermont 4 years, but I think the third class, they only got 6 games in 1 year. So in the back of my head, I was hoping they want to really get 4 true years here. We love them to death, not only as basketball players, as ambassadors of this program and human beings. So, of course, we wanted them here. We let them know that. You know, we didn't want to make it hard on them, but we did want to make it hard on them, that they have something special here. The community adores them. Their teammates love them. They had something special, and why not come back and try to do something a little bit more more than you just did. So, of course, transparency, they were wonderful. Their families were wonderful through it all. There was a lot of conversations. But at the end of the day, I was going to support them and what was best for them. And they did give the University of Vermont and thankfully me 4 years. So at that point, I just felt like I was going to be supportive, let them know what we think, what we love about them, and then let them make a decision. And thankfully, in my eyes, they made the right decision.
I've seen this. We've all seen this several times in our life watching sports. A coach at a low major, a mid major has good success and then gets poached by some bigger school. Did anybody come calling for you this offseason?
No, yes, I've heard from some schools, but this is a really good fit for me, for my family. What I love, this group, this community, this is a really special place. And so I'm really happy where I'm at. It's part of the business, if you will, but I always joke, and I'm serious, in that I've always been a mid-major kid growing up, watching Monmouth basketball, and then went to Marist and was mid-major there, only coached at the mid-major level. There's something special about this level, and then you're in a community that really supports sports, women's basketball, our program. So I wouldn't be leaving for anything but the most special job out there. And right now, this is it, and I'm happy with where I'm at.
Well, we're certainly happy as a fan base that you have stayed, and this should be a really good year ahead. We've talked a lot about good things. There is one bad piece of news that came out last week, that Catherine Gilby is going to be out for the season with an injury. And I can only speculate as to what that is, but out for the year this early is certainly serious. She's a huge part of your team. I was constantly impressed by the way she ran the floor, not only her ability to score, but her ability to get everybody in proper positions. And you know that more than anybody as a former point guard yourself. She's not someone that you can replace, but early on here, what's the plan?
Yeah, really, really sad news for her. You don't want to see anybody go through injuries ever. But I think the rest of the team is we're going to find a way. We're not going to replace her for her, but it's going to be a community effort to replace what we lost in a lot of ways. We have some players that were on the roster this past year that I think are hungry to step into a role, and now they might be getting that role a little quicker. And same with a couple first years coming in that we're excited about. Kat Gilly has done so much for us, but if you look back for freshman year, she was thrown to the deep end fast, and she did a great job with it. And so I think a couple of young players are going to be in the same situation, but they're going to have Kat help them through it. I think that's something, she's the type of person that's going to make the most of any situation. And she's going to be another coach for us. And she's going to help these young ones in a situation where maybe she didn't have an upperclassman to help when she was going through that role as a first year. So it's going to be a team effort, tough loss for sure. But I think this group is going to find a way to pick each other up. And right now it's picking up Kat and helping her through this, but also getting somebody else ready, and maybe it's a couple players ready to take over some serious minutes and scoring and like you said, floor general for us.
Kind of another nerdy coach question, but I'm curious here. I'm sure one of the options on the table is you could put Emma Utterback in the point guard spot. She's a veteran player, a player that you trust with the ball. And I'm sure that would be good, but it would also take her away from what she does best. So how do you balance maybe the easiest decision for you and getting the ball in a veteran's hands, but also not kind of upsetting the apple cart from the rest of the team?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely an option on the table, but to your point, I think as a staff, we got to figure out how to get the most out of each and every player. And Emma's scoring ability and what she does in transition, things like that are really important to our success so far. And I think it's going to be another huge part to us this coming year. So I think we're going to hopefully find some players that can be another ball handler that doesn't have to take Emma out of her rhythm, because that's important to what we do in our offense. So yeah, there's times Kat's first year, there was times I had to move Emma over for, a game, and it just worked. And sometimes we might have to do that, but I'm really hopeful that we have some young players on this roster that are ready to step in a role and be a floor general and keep Emma in the place where she can be most successful.
I'll get you out of here on this. I may be wrong, but I feel like I don't ever remember an off season where we didn't know the schedule by this point. Maybe it is usually later, and I'm just jonesing for some hoops talk here. But what do we know about the schedule and kind of the timeline at this point?
It's still a work in progress. It's definitely been been a little bit tougher to schedule games. I think we're feeling a little what Coach Becker has gone through, success of their program. A lot of moving parts, and we're trying to have a healthy balance, obviously, with some home games for our amazing crowd to be out and see our players. Our schedule definitely already is looking like it's going to be even harder than last year, which was a big jump for this program. And I think we're at the right point that we want to have those, but a healthy balance would be nice. We actually don't have a single contract signed at this point. We're really working hard right now on the schedule. Hopefully, probably I'm guessing August, really.
Okay, August, so we'll look forward to 2 months from now. So, Coach Kresge, much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of the off season. I know the off season for a coach is never as long as maybe you might like it to be, but we look forward to more UVM Hoops talk here in the near future. We'll catch up down the road.
Absolutely. Alisa Kresge, the UVM women's basketball coach. There's a couple of things there. First off, I enjoy talking to Coach Kresge, and I enjoy talking to Coach Becker. I enjoy talking UVM hoops, and I know that you enjoy listening to UVM hoops. That's why we do it so much, especially in season. I thought it was important to get an update on where we're at right now. And again, I'm going to reach out and try to get Coach Becker on sometime between now and Friday, or tomorrow and Friday as well, to do the same thing for the men, because both these teams have really interesting dynamics to them this year. And I think it's going to be fascinating to watch how these teams unfold. For the women, it really is how you handle the weight of expectations. And she knows that. And you can hear Alisa Kresge talk about it. How this team handles the weight of expectations and how everybody responds to kind of the feeling of having already done what you want to do. And what I mean is, last year, UVM is a veteran team, right? They're a veteran team, but they never won at the level they wanted to win. So it's easy to sit here and say, it's a process or it's a journey. We're going to take it day by day. We're going to go one game at a time. We're going to kind of build and build and build and build and build. Now they've been to the top of the mountain. So can you still take it day by day and brick by brick when you already know what the pot of gold looks like? Okay. This is going to sound like so corny, but this is a sports psychology phrase. Okay. Stop counting down the days and make the days count, right? When you've already been to the top of the mountain, usually you're just you're like fast forward. Okay. I don't want to play non-conference. I don't want to play the conference. Just get me to the conference tournament so I can get back to the NCAA tournament and I can get a chance to win a game, right? How do you avoid that attitude? That is going to be large pressure and a large new dynamic for the women. And then also, when you throw on the loss of Catherine Gilby, that is huge. And Coach Kresge can say, and I believe her when she says, hey, we've got exciting players. We've got young players. We can put Emma Utterback here. None of them are Cat Gilby. Okay. Catherine Gilby is an all-conference player at point guard. Okay. She was going to be an all-conference player at point guard this year. Floor general, good passer, good court vision, good demeanor on the court, good with her teammate. You don't just replace that. So now you have the weight of expectations, but one of your key pieces is not there. That is a massive loss for this team. And so there's a new dynamic there I think is going to be fascinating to watch. When we look at the men, it's the constant churn of the roster now. This has become recently, because of the transfer portal here, this has become a new thing for this program. It's no longer can we recruit guys and bring them up 1 year. Coach John Becker used to say our goal in recruiting was to take a player we already had and find a recruit that's a little bit better, right? Like we've had Trey Bell Haynes. Can we find the next guy that's a little bit better than him and a little bit better? And can we keep pushing that way? You don't really get to do that anymore. It's not about finding freshmen and growing. It's about getting in these hired guns that can come in off the transfer portal and can help you stay at this level. And it's about, can you build team? Can you find good players? Can you find the right players? And can you build team chemistry all in a very short period of time? And now every year there's a roster churn. And while it's fun to watch new names come in and guys with newer resumes, it's hard to build team chemistry and it's hard to get this team to grow all at the same time. right? It took UVM a while last year, right? They were 1-2 at one point, or 2-2 at one point in conference play. They didn't take off until mid-January. It takes time. New dynamic of pressure there for the men. And I look at it here. Dylan Penn's gone. And Finn Sullivan's gone. The player of the year in the league is gone. The player of the year in the conference tournament, the best player on the floor for you in the NCAA tournament, they're both gone. And then Robin Duncan's gone. The heart and soul of your team is gone. And you bring back Aaron Deloney, and you've gotten some really good pieces off the portal that we'll talk with Coach Becker about as we get going. But this isn't easy. Okay, this is not easy to do what the UVM men have to do. They're both going to be fascinating, and I can't wait to continue the conversation and to get the people back on campus, start to learn more about them. I mean, look, we got a lot of Red Sox stuff. We got a lot of Patriots stuff, but I don't know that anything gets me going more than talking about UVM hoops. I don't know. I love talking Patriots. I love talking Red Sox, but I don't know, especially locally, I don't know that anything gets me going like talking UVM hoops. And it is going to be another fascinating season ahead at Patrick Gym. The schedule, my goodness, what Coach Kresge says there, they don't have one contract signed. You look at it, UVM probably needs to play 14 non-conference games, right? You're gonna have, I want to say, where are we at now? 9 teams in the America East, 8 teams in the like 16 conference games. Probably need 14 non-conference games. They don't have one of them signed yet. Whew. That's hard. That is hard. And the men, I know it's tough too. I've been looking. I haven't gotten a whole lot of anything on the men's non-conference schedule either. We know that they're playing in that tournament there with the College of Charleston, Coastal Carolina, good tournament around Thanksgiving time. Beyond that, I haven't gotten a lot of words on anything. I think they're playing Brown again. I know they're playing Toledo, but I haven't heard much there. So these schedules, man, I do not envy these coaches that have to make these schedules, especially when you're a good or up-and-coming mid-major. It is harder to have people want to play you. It is harder to have people want to play you. Red Sox and Twins come up in about 8 minutes from now. I'll give you the lineups. We'll give you a Tanner Houck update. Scary incident on Friday. We'll tell you what the latest is. That's next on the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on DEV. Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Red Sox baseball comes up about 5 minutes from now. We will have the Sox and Twins. Sox have won 4 straight games, swept away the Yankees this weekend. The Twins are in first place in the AL Central, but they are barely over 500. They're certainly, I don't know if underachieving is right, but it's an underwhelming division in the American League Central for sure. Red Sox certainly have a chance here to go on the road here and win this series. At the very least, you've got to split it because you can't lose this series. Taking 3 or 4 is hard, I give you that, but you've got to split it at least, and I think 3 or 4 is certainly attainable in this series. An update on Tanner Houck. If you missed this, Tanner Houck got hit in the face, not even in the head, in the face by a line drive on Friday night by the Yankees catcher Kyle Higashioka. He's got a facial fracture. He's on the injured list. He might need surgery. We're not sure yet. Alex Cora said they're going to monitor that over the next couple of days to determine whether or not he needs, whether or not he's going to need surgery. So certainly a scary incident. I'll be honest with you. I did not watch it. I was listening to the game on Friday night. I heard it. I heard the call as it was happening from Joe Castig. I did not go back and watch it. I do not want to go back and watch it. I have a very difficult time with pitchers getting hit in the head or in the face. It is, to me, the scariest thing in the sport. There's not a really good way to handle it and make it better or make it not a risk. But as a guy who was a pitcher, it is the thing that terrifies me the most in all of baseball. You're throwing it at 95, 100. It's coming back at 105, 110, 115. There's nothing you can do to get out of the way. And it is just a terrifying thing when you see that happen. I saw it happen with Ryan Yarbrough this year, the Royals. I did watch that one. I do not want to see what happened to Houck, but he never lost consciousness. He walked off under his own power. That's all great. But I hate seeing pitchers get hit like that. They talked about the padded hat several years ago. I am for that. That would help you a little bit on the side of the head. As far as your face goes, there is nothing other than a softball-style mask. There is nothing there to protect your face, and I don't think that that's particularly practical for guys who throw as hard as Major League pitchers do and who have as much movement as Major League pitchers do. Movement in terms of their body. I can't see something like that staying in place. So it's just, look, every sport has risks, right? We've seen gruesome injuries in every sport, whether it's hockey, whether it's football, whether it's basketball. We see gruesome injuries, scary injuries all the time, and you can't mitigate every risk that there is. But I wish there was a way you could mitigate that, because we should never have to see what happened to Tanner Houck on a baseball field. We should never have to see it, but we do, and we will see it again, and it will be terrifying once more when we do. It's the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. All right, let's get to the Red Sox lineups. Sox are 37-35. The Twins are at 500, 36-36. I actually said the Twins were just over 500. No, they're at 500. James Paxton, 2-1 with a 3.09 ERA, is on the mound for Boston. Pablo Lopez, acquired this offseason from the Marlins, is 3-3 with a 4.27 for Minnesota. Jarren Duran leads off today for the Red Sox. He's in left field. Alex Verdugo is in right. He slides to second. Rafael Devers is at third base. Adam Duvall is the center fielder. Masataka Yoshida is down in fifth, hitting 3.08. Christian Arroyo is at second. Tristan Casas is at first. He's been hitting better here in June. Connor Wong is the catcher, and Pablo Reyes is the shortstop. He bats ninth. For the Twins, they've got a bit of a different lineup today themselves. How about Donovan Solano leading off at first base? Edouard Julien from Quebec, he's at second. Byron Buxton's the DH. Carlos Correa is at short. Alex Kirilloff is in right. Willie Castro's in center. Kyle Farmer's at third. Joey Gallo is in left. And Christian Vasquez, the former Red Sox catcher, well, he mans the pitching staff and bats ninth. Vasquez hitting just .222 this year with no homers and 12 RBIs. I want to thank Coach Alisa Kresge for stopping by. I will effort John Becker for later this week. Get the skinny on the UVM men's program. I'll look forward to talking to him. Go download the podcast on the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel and Apple Podcast, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. See you tomorrow.